We all love each other very much and we are exceedingly close. Do you not think that is wonderful?
Man, it's a hurricane outside, you asking me that?
Man, shut your bitch ass up, nigga.
We interrupt this program to bring you...
Yo, welcome to the dojo. It's your boy Kyle. I'm be your sensei for the day. Before we get started, make sure you leave me an offering by hitting that like button. You feel me? Now, last video, dudes got roasted by his mom and got a visit from IU and Cosmos. Now we're at the airport with Marina, Hazel, and Hifumi on the way to Astoria to go meet Princess Stephania. So without further ado, sit back, relax, eat your snacks, and enjoy.
Speaking of Marina and Hifumi, they're both waiting on me when I arrive at the airport, as is Hazel. The four of us check in and wait out the hour until we're allowed to board. The airport is quite sleek and modern. There are digital screens displayed about the waiting room and the floor is made of shiny reflective tiles. I plug my phone in, letting it charge, and lean back in my seat. I didn't get much sleep last night on account of nerves. I'm not the best flyer, so I'm hoping to get some R&R before the flight proper. I can't say I'm a big fan of airplanes. Since I have long legs, they always end up getting cramped, and for some reason, I seem to be a magnet for whiny babies. Fortunately, Marina booked our tickets and she splurged for first class seating. I should have expected nothing less from Wakatsuki Marina. I should have a bit more leg room than per usual, and with some luck, traveling in style ought to reduce the chances of me running into any screaming kids. I'm doubtful, however, that I'll be able to get any shut-eye during the flight. The journey to Astoria is over 10 hours long, which is quite a while to spend shut up in a stuffy airplane. I'm not looking forward to the prospect. I need a bit of time to mentally prepare. I try to practice my breathing, hoping to steady myself for the trial which awaits me, but alas. Hey, look over there, is that Hazel Williams? Hazel Williams? No way, not the famous tennis player. Yes, it is her. I'm sure of it. And there, sitting with her, that looks like Wakatsuki Marina. Wakatsuki Marina, she's here? Did someone just mention Hazel Williams? Hey, is that Yamamoto Hifumi too? Wow, what's going on with all these celebs? Oh my gosh, I'm a huge fan of yours, Hazel. Can I get an autograph? Look over here, Miss Wakatsuki, say cheese. Miss Yamamoto, would you mind if I took a photo with you? My. Marina, who's sitting beside me, her legs folded sighs. This is what we get, I suppose, for traveling on a commercial airline. I might have paid for first class tickets, but that isn't going to keep the rabble down. I knew we ought to have flown in my private jet instead. You have a private jet?
Damn!
Of course, what do you take me for? I am incredibly wealthy after all. Marina rises to her feet, then dismissively rushes a hand through her right tresses. I guess she has a point. It makes sense she owns a private jet, given all the expensive clothes she owns and her exceedingly plush mansion. I guess Marina really does live in a different sphere than me. She talks to me like an equal, so sometimes I forget how vast our gulf in social standing is. Goodness. Marina exhales. All this attention is tedious. Come along, Hiroki, Hazel, Hifumi. I do not wish to be surrounded by culprits.
Hey,
I'm
what
not
about
an
me
animal
though?
in the zoo. Marina links an arm through mine, meaning to pull me away. I'm content enough to follow her. I don't want to get caught up among a curious crowd, but Hazel, it seems, has other ideas. Huh? Hazel pouts and then scuffs the floor with her sneaker. Do we really have to leave? I would vastly prefer it, yes. Why? Marina purses her lips together. Please don't tell me you enjoy being at the center of all this commotion. I don't mind, really. I'm happy I have so many fans. In fact, it means I'm getting more and more popular. I'm always up for signing a few autographs. Goodness, how very monogamous of you. I know, I'm so considerate. Of your fans, maybe, but what of the rest of us? Marina sighs. Fine, you can play the court jester if you wish, but I have no desire to linger. Hiroki, Hifumi, and I shall leave, and you can remain here. Huh? Wait, that ain't fair. Don't leave me. But I thought you liked the attention. I do like the attention, but I don't want to be away from Hiroki. We're supposed to be traveling in a group. Hazel presses her body against my other side while resting a hand on my shoulder. You want to stick with me, don't you, Hiroki? No, I think my darling would rather stay with me. No, he wants to stay with me. Goodness, my future husband is so popular.
Man, your future husband of
Perhaps I ought to feel jealous, but as your adoring wife, I feel nothing but happiness for you, my beloved.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
I'm glad, I guess, that Hifumi seems so amused by this whole production, but what's going on? Who's that guy Hazel and Miss Wakatsuki are clinging to? Is he an acquaintance of theirs? A boring, ordinary looking man like that? There's no way. They look like they're on friendly terms. I've never seen Miss Bukowski clean to a man like that. I thought she was supposed to be the strong, independent type. They look very cozy. No, wait, don't tell me. A member of the crowd gasped and jabbed a finger in my direction. That can't be the man Miss Yamamoto spoke of during the National Karuta Championships, can it? Huh? What are you talking about? Miss Yamamoto said there was a man she was fond of, one she loved above all else. Could it be him? Are you saying this boring man is dating Yamamoto Hifumi? There's no way. I refuse to believe it. It seems like I've caused quite the disturbance. I like to try to clear matters up, not that the crowds that's formed about us is laboring under a misunderstanding per se, but before I can, yes, that is correct. Hifumi announces, one hand upon her breast, a gentle smile upon her face. Hiroki is indeed very precious to me, but I am not the only one blessed to be his beloved. He is also intimately familiar with my dear friends Marina and Hazel. We all love each other very much and we are exceedingly close. Do you not think that is wonderful?
Man, it's a hurricane outside, you asking me that?
Man, shut your bitch ass up.
I grip my teeth together. It'll be impossible to talk my way out of this now. Hifumi's as good as sealed my fate. Now all these guys are glaring at me like they want to dismember me in more ways than one. My limbs aren't my only body parts in immediate danger here.
Pause!
So this man is Ogasawara Hiroki. He's more plain looking than I thought. Why is he so popular? It's not fair. Some people get all the look. The crowd are, for the most part, bemoaning my popularity, but other more opportunistic members of the peanut gallery seem to be regarding this as a chance to make a quick buck.
Tell them to bring me my money.
A couple of people whip out phones, and before I can say no photos, they start snapping. This will be a huge scoop. I bet the magazines will pay a lot for this. A candid photo like this must be worth a princess ransom. I'll be rich. Thank you, Hiroki, for generating me so much drama. I groan. I suppose I should have foreseen this would happen given my close relations with so many famous women. In fact, it's a bit surprising all my affairs haven't been leaked to the press yet. I've been doing a good job keeping my relationships under wraps, but it looks like the cat's out the bag now. In time, everybody will know about me and my relationship with Hifumi, Marina, and Hazel, as if my life wasn't difficult enough already. My coworkers already hate me, and they don't have a concrete proof of all my relationships just yet. This photo, however, of Marina and Hazel clinging to me will change everything. Jeez, I sigh. Forget sleeping on the flight. I'll be too busy worried about this to get a good moment's rest. Why must my life be so difficult? 16 hours later. Well, that was just miserable. I stumbled through the airport, which for some reason looks an awful lot like the airport back in Japan, my luggage in tow. The flight from Japan to Astoria took about 13 hours, but the flight wasn't a direct one, and we had to wait in Germany for 2 hours for a connecting flight. I don't like flying much in general, and I've never been so far afield from Japan before in my life. I feel uncomfortably sticky despite it being rather chilly, and there's a foul taste in my mouth that won't go away. I wasn't able to get any sleep at all on the flight despite being booked in the first class seats, and I feel like death walking. The food they served on the flight wasn't much to write home about either. If I wasn't as tired as I was, I'd probably be starving. Food's the last thing on my mind, however. My stomach feels all jumbled up after a fairly rough landing, and my head is pounding. I want to find my hotel, stat, and then go to sleep. The sun hasn't set yet, though I think it should be sinking in an hour or so, but I don't care about petty things like societal norms or even keeping a healthy schedule. I can't think of anything except for going to bed and getting some shut-eye, damn it. I feel tired, sullen, and sulky, therefore as I drag my way through the sleek, shiny airport, Hifumi, Marina, and Hazel in tow.
What's he gonna do? Oh!
He's pulling his cock out!
Greetings, everybody. It is most wonderful to see you once more. I am most gratified to see you again, mistress. Thank you very much for accepting my invitation. This is truly a happy day. I am so blessed I could bow before you in thanks. But fate, it would seem, has other ideas. No sooner have I stumbled out of the airport's entrance, my succubus retinue in tow, than I find myself set upon by a cheerful blonde girl attired in a luxurious blue dress. I recognize this blonde girl, though I've never met her before. She is none other than the Princess of Astoria herself, Stephania Sophia Maria Isabella of Astoria. Geez, try saying that 5 times in a row.
That's some bullshit.
I didn't think, as I hauled my sorry carcass through the airport, that I'd be greeted by this country's princess of all people. This really is the royal reception. Stephania isn't alone either. She's flanked by several men in dark suits and sunglasses, bodyguards I guess, and behind her to her left is a young woman clad in black and white frilly attire. Could she be a maid? I meet the mystery woman's eye and she curtsies neatly before me. Greetings. My name is Elizabeth, and I am Princess Stephania's top maid. Wherever she goes, I follow. She was determined to welcome your party to Astoria in person, for it was at her request that you have found yourself hence. I look forward to serving you, Miss Yamamoto. Elizabeth's eyes meet Hifumi's. And you too, Miss Wakatsuki. Charmed. And you, Miss Williams. Being called Miss is kind of funny. I don't know if it really suits me. And you, Mr. Ogasawara. The way this maid speaks is awfully polite. I'm starting to feel like royalty myself. She and Stephania make for quite the pleasing pair, superimposed as they are against the sunset sky. I wonder which of the two is more attractive. Elizabeth, the maid. Yeah, it's gotta be Elizabeth. I mean, she's a maid. What's not to love? Something about that black and white dress of hers really gets me going. Pause! Maids are truth, justice, and love. I'm sorry, Stephania, but princess though you might be, you can never hope to compare to a genuine maid. May I help you with your cases? What? Oh no. I shake my head, somewhat abashed. Don't put yourself out for me. You can help Hifumi and the others if you want, but I'm a guy, so I should really take care of my own luggage. Oh, do not worry about that. You are a guest, like Lizzie said. Your comfort is of paramount importance. As a maid, it is my duty to help you with your belongings. Nothing gives me greater pleasure than working for the sake of others. Please, allow me. Elizabeth reaches forth to take my suitcase before I can protest. My cases are particularly heavy. I didn't pack all that much, and she has no issue with it despite my gentlemanly grandstanding. I guess I needn't have fussed. Elizabeth takes Hifumi's suitcase next, then Hazel's, then Marina's. Marina in particular has brought quite a lot with her. Yet Elizabeth's grip upon the handles of these myriad cases doesn't falter. She doesn't look at all perturbed either by the burden she's now carrying. Is she some sort of super maid? Maybe she hits the gym every night after completing her household duties. I have to wonder now whether she's secretly ripped beneath those puffy sleeves of her outfit. Now, once more, still smiling, Stephania extends her arm towards us. Welcome to Astoria. I hope your stay is a pleasant one. Naturally, you shall be residing in Astoria's palace during your stay, on the outskirts of Rosenberg. You deserve nothing less than the best. The palace? I gulp at the princess, my eyes agog. But that's much too fancy for the likes of me. I'm just a peon. I already had a room in a hotel booked. Oh, pish posh. How can I let you stay in a hotel when the palace has dozens upon dozens of rooms which are left unused? There is more than enough space for you. Please do not be shy. If you are indeed my mistress' partner, and that you must be a special sort of man indeed, nobody could be more worthy of my hospitality. I have already talked things through with my mother and father, and they did not pose any objections. They seemed happy, in fact, that the many empty wings of the palace could finally be put to good use. Now, let us depart. You must be exhausted. Before that, however, her green eyes twinkling, Stephania darts forwards and like a little rabbit presses her lips to first to Hifumi's cheek, then Marina's, then Hazel's, then finally... This is a classic Astorian greeting, Stephania says by way of explanation after drawing her lips away from me. It is a basic gesture of courtesy, and as a princess, it would be remiss of me not to offer it on to you. I would hate to be rude, particularly during our first meeting. I hope you will find me an agreeable hostess, and do remember, Stephania beams, any friend of my mistress is a friend of my own. I am very much looking forward to spending time with you all. The palace, as Stephania said, isn't located too far away from Rosenberg. It's built on the city's outskirts, about an hour or so away from it proper. I'm ferried to the palace in style and luxury in a black limousine that must have cost an extraordinary amount of money. I can't help but gasp as the car pulls up outside the palace's walls at how grand and imposing a building it is. I looked up pictures of the palace online before my trip to Astoria, so I had a pretty good approximation of its appearance, but seeing it in reality is different than seeing it on grainy photos uploaded to the net. Astoria's palace is a grand building which looks like something straight from a fairy tale. The palace's entrance is supported by marble columns, and there is an impressive series of stone steps leading up to the vast front doors. The palace is inlaid with windows, all decorated with window boxes full of verdant flowers, and a quick glance shows that the building, all told, has 4 impressively stacked floors. It's such a large structure, I have to tip my head back to take it all in. Pause. Don't let it happen again. I can scarcely believe I'll be staying here of all places. I was prepared to keep in a hotel during the 2 weeks of my holiday, but Princess Stephania evidently had other ideas. Stephania said her parents approved all this, but I have to wonder how she was able to talk them around. Do they often let members of the rabble stay in their expensive home? I feel distinctly unworthy, but I'm not stupid enough nor grateful enough to look this particular gift horse in the mouth. If Stephania wants me to stay here, then I have no choice but to indulge in her hospitality. She is a princess after all. I'm helped out of the limo upon arriving at the palace by Elizabeth, who similarly handles my luggage. Feeling a bit like a celebrity, I'm buoyed through this palace's expansive gardens and up the stone steps to its entrance. Once arriving indoors, Elizabeth then guides me through the palace. She leads me through a veritable rabbit of twisting, turning corridors until we eventually arrive at the chamber in which I am to spend the night. By the time we reach the new lodgings, it's already dark outside. The sun shrinks beneath the horizon during my journey through Astoria, and now the velveteen sky is sprinkled with stars. I can see the stars winking beyond the panes of glass, but only for a few moments. Elizabeth, in the brisk, no-nonsense manner of any skilled maid, crosses the room and then draws the curtains closed. She's gonna draw the curtains closed, my boy, while he's stargazing? Boy, spiritual soul will not be proud of that. I hope this room is to your liking. You shall be residing here throughout the duration of your stay in Astoria. This room has its own bathroom, which ought to possess all the amenities you should wish for. Should you find this room lacking in any regard, however, do not hesitate to summon a servant to tell them. There is a bell you may ring by your bedside, which is connected to the servants' quarters, which should summon one of us to your side immediately if aught is amiss. Please do not hesitate to ask us for help. No issue too small, be it a desire for another pillow or a midnight snack. As a guest, your comfort is of our highest priority, and I shall do all I can to make you feel at home. Elizabeth accompanies these words with a polite courtesy before resuming her speech. She informs me of when meal times will be, though she appends, you needn't eat with us if you are feeling unwell or too tired. You may ring the servants' quarters and ask that your food be delivered to your bedroom instead. And gives me a brief rundown of common Astorian etiquette. With this information thus dispensed, she looks at me demurely and her hands folded at the front. I believe that is all the information I have to impart upon you. Do you have any further questions, Mr. Ogasawara, regarding your stay? No, I think that ought to be good. I paused, my words punctuated with a yawn as I pressed my palm to my mouth. For now, I finished, my eyes beating with weary tears. Thank you for showing me to my room. Elizabeth. Yes, that's right, Elizabeth, sorry. I find it hard to remember Western names at the best of times, as now is most definitely not that. I feel exhausted after my flight, and given the lateness of the hour, I want nothing more to do than to curl up in bed. Thank you for showing me around, and for being so hospitable. It's appreciated, really. Do not mention it. As a maid, it is my duty to ensure that all who reside within these palace walls are quite comfortable. I am sure that is what Princess Stephania would want. You are one of her esteemed guests after all. I only hope that the princess's effusive greeting at the airport did not perturb you. I know she could be quite boisterous in her affections, but she is still rather young, sheltered too. You do not think any less of her, do you? Nah, she good. Oh no, it's fine. Are you quite certain? Sure, don't worry about me, Ellie. Sorry, Elizabeth. I offer Elizabeth a smile. I've got to admit, that kiss on the cheek over at the airport did surprise me, but I didn't dislike it. I've heard such displays of skinship are fairly common in European countries. As such, I didn't presume, not for a second, that Stephania meant anything seedy by it. I think she was just being friendly. I've not known the princess for all that long, but I think she seems like a nice person. I'm sure I can get along with her. If I can be poly with the queen of the succubus realm, who's to say I can't befriend a blue-blooded princess of a small European nation like Astoria? Stephania, for all her forwardness, isn't half as difficult to deal with as Yui. At least I don't think she'll be. Stephania only kissed me upon the cheek when we met, whilst Yui went straight for my mouth. Now that's something that'll stay with me. I am very happy to hear that. I hope you will be able to spend your time with her during your stay. I am certain that she would enjoy your company. Now, Elizabeth glances me over, no doubt taking in my sallow complexion and my flyaway hair. I believe a good night's rest is just what the doctors ordered. Shall I leave you be? If you wouldn't mind, I'm sorry, but again, I yawn. I'm exhausted. I thought you might be. You have had quite the busy day. Then, if you would excuse me. Elizabeth drops a neat courtesy and turns on her heel. She exits my luxurious, extravagant bedchamber, then closes the door behind her with a thud. I listen to the sound of Elizabeth's heels. Isn't it difficult for her to work in those? As they strike the marble floor until they fade altogether. Now I'm all alone. In Elizabeth's absence, I yawn once more and throw myself down upon the bed. I can't remember the last time I felt this tired. I don't particularly like flying. Does anybody? And I've never endured so many hours on a plane before. I have a bit of a headache and there's an unpleasant taste in my mouth. I want nothing more than to go to sleep, but I'm so weary I can't even summon the energy to take off my clothes. Idly, I scan my bed chamber. Not for the first time, I'm struck by how huge it is and how elaborate. The wardrobe across the room, or what a member of nobility call it an amore, is like the object of a fine art, expertly crafted with golden handles. The chandelier which hangs from the ceiling is gold too, as are the bedposts on my 4 poster. This room is mostly comprised of whites and creams with some pale blues and golds for accents. It is an understated kind of color scheme which lends to the regality of it all. For how expensive all the individual items of furniture which adorn this room must be, not to mention the rugs and paintings on the wall and the fine sheets upon the bed, it doesn't look gaudy at all. It's an understated kind of color scheme which lends to the regality of it all. Oh, it went backwards. For how expensive all the individual items of furniture which adorn this room must be, not to mention the rugs and the paintings on the wall and the fine sheets upon the bed, it doesn't look gaudy at all. Whoever's in charge of the interior decor around here sure knows their stuff. But that, I suppose, is to be expected. I am staying in a palace. This isn't the first time I stayed in a palace. I still remember the stint I had in the Succubus room, entrapped at the jealous Yui's behest. The rooms were large too, and just as splendid as those in Stephania's palace. But while Yui's domain was dark and imposing, Stephania's is sweet and light. It almost feels like I've stepped into a small slice of heaven. Now I can finally relax. I lie back in bed, my eyelids fluttering shut when
Today's dojo session ends. Yo, if y'all enjoyed this, make sure y'all like, subscribe, and comment, man. Let me know how I'm doing. You feel me? I'm getting more experimental, trying new stuff. Just trying to make y'all happy. Hey, I appreciate the engagement the last video got too, so I hope y'all like that one. I'm trying to make this one as good as that one, alright? Hey, love y'all. You know what I'm saying? If y'all in Florida or like, you know, the southeast US like me right now, take care. Hurricane Ian coming through, running through everybody's pockets and power, you feel me? So stay safe, okay? Love y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.